Cabinet met this morning. Have you made a decision on your response to the Bell report about Mr Morrison?
Cabinet this morning has endorsed all 6 recommendations of the Bell inquiry. These are serious recommendations going forward. We will introduce legislation later this week to make sure that this can never ever happen again. And this week as well, the House will be moving a censure motion in the member for Cook as a result of the findings of Virginia Bell and the inquiry, which found that the actions of the former Prime Minister fundamentally undermined the principles of responsible government, because the former Prime Minister wasn't responsible to the Parliament and through the Parliament to the electors for the departments that he was appointed to administer, and that had real consequences of acting to undermine public confidence in government and were corrosive of trust in government. I note the rather extraordinary comments by the manager of opposition business, who has said that the issue of the relationship between the former PM and his ministers is a matter for them. This wasn't about the relationship between the former Prime Minister and his ministers. It's not a personal relationship between 2 mates over what happened down the pub. This is about accountability of our democratic system and whether the Parliament was functioning properly, and about the relationship between the Prime Minister and the people of Australia, who expect to be held to account through our parliamentary processes. Just here, Sarah.
Have senior ministers agreed to put a cap on coal and gas prices for domestic sales?
No.
Prime Minister,
will you be moving the motion personally?
We haven't made any decisions of that, but I would expect that the motion will be moved by either the Leader of the House or the Attorney General.
On the Bell review legislation, you say you're going to introduce it this week, but are you expecting to pass it before the end of the year?
Sorry,
this is the legislation, the Ministers of State Act. We'll be introducing legislation later this week to amend the Ministers of State Act 1952 to give effect to the first recommendation of Virginia Bell's report, and
we'll wait and see what the business is in terms of whether there's time for it to pass or not. Can I indicate as well that the regulatory changes and the instructions in the recommendations I have made already through the Secretary of my Department of Prime Minister and Cabinet.